everyone. I'm so excited that you're here with me for another reading, and welcome to all of the new viewers. My name is Odessa. I'm the Mystic Intuitive Healer, and I deliver messages through the cards that help you to awaken, heal, align, and grow. So in today's reading, I'm delivering compliments from your spirit guides. This is a viewer request. I'm really excited about this topic. I've never done a reading like this before, so it'll be interesting to see what comes forward in each pile. You have 3 piles to select from. Pile number 1 has a jar of green aventurine chips as well as the swallow sticker. Pile number 2 has the howlite crystal chips and a small pigeon feather. And pile number 3 has amethyst crystal chips and a gold bell on a white and gold string. So I'm going to give you a close-up of the items and the cards, and you're going to be able to have a moment to just meditate and select your pile, and I will see you at your reading. Hi, pile number 1, welcome to your reading. So as I mentioned in the intro, this reading is all about compliments from your spirit guides. So the compliments might be related to your physical appearance and your style. It could be related to your life's ambitions and the things that you've accomplished. Maybe it's about your spiritual growth and your emotional growth. Possibly it's about your intellect and your problem solving. I'm expecting that there's going to be a wide range of different compliments that come forward. Keep in mind that the reading is designed to give you a perspective of yourself that you wouldn't normally have. So some of these messages you might not feel are true to you, but that doesn't mean that they're not accurate. You might not be giving yourself enough credit, so keep that in mind. Of course, if the entire pile feels like it's meant for someone else, you might want to go back to the pick a pile section of the intro and choose one of the other 2 piles because you were drawn to this reading for a reason. There's something that your spirit guides want you to know. And of course, you can always book a one-on-one session with me, and then all of the messages will be meant for you. And you can go to my website, odessamall.com, and you can book a reading with me there. So you selected the green aventurine chips as well as the swallow sticker. So swallows are associated with hope, new beginnings, love, loyalty, and the comfort of home. So the sense that I get is that you've had to reinvent yourself. You've had fresh new beginnings quite a bit, and there might be even more fresh starts that are to come in the future. And you've always maintained hope and optimism about what these changes could bring into your life. You might have had experiences where you were really challenged when it came to the energy of love. That might be romantic, that could be with friendship, it could even be with family. But there's this sense of you being conflicted about how to have your needs met, who you should be loyal to, where is your sense of home, where do you fit in? And even though you might still be searching for that community that's going to really get you, you are optimistic that they're out there and it's just a matter of time before you find them. The sense that I get is that you are a very optimistic person about life. You try and see things from a higher perspective. You might have gone through some periods where you had to really assess yourself and your own perceptions of things. There's a sense of like really doing some of the work to emotionally grow. The green aventurine is a crystal that's connected to the heart chakra. So there's a strong association between you and the energy of love, and specifically unconditional love. So that might be one of your big lessons in this life. We all have to go through certain challenges to help us to grow on a spiritual level, so we can empathize with other people. And oftentimes we have to go through experiential learning. So if you had to learn about what unconditional love is and what that means and how you give and receive love, you've likely been partnered with people that were avoidant and they didn't know how to love, and they maybe were people that were attracted to extremes. Like there was always a lot of drama, or suspicion is the word that's coming forward. So a lot of these extreme highs and lows where you felt like you had to perform, or you had to sort of convince people to meet your needs. And you always met those challenges and you tried to put your heart into it. You really tried to lead with love. So let's put these items aside and get a little more information on the Green Adventurine. I've pulled this card out that is from my crystal deck, and it says harmony, comfort, and growth. And the back of the card, of course, mentions the heart chakra. It also mentions Aries and Virgos, so you might have strong Aries or Virgo placements in your chart. The affirmation is, I am in harmony and listen to my heart. Adventurine is calming and a protector of the heart. As a good luck stone, it can be used to attract money and prosperous energies. It can help to create abundant opportunities and balance emotions. Yeah, so you are someone who puts your heart into like all of the things that you're trying to pursue in life. I get the sense that you've likely tried to have a career that you're passionate about. You might be working in a creative field. You are optimistic that you can make it work. I don't think you wanted to sacrifice your joy in life. You feel like being happy with what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, really like loving your job, is more important than just having a lot of money. And your guides are saying that this is the key to manifesting everything that you need in life. Now, the abundance that's in store for you might be just enough comfort to make sure that you have a really nice home, that you feel safe, that you have all of your needs met, and that might be enough for you. Some of you might be sort of trying to figure out exactly how much abundance is enough for you. And your guides are saying you're going to figure that out. Absolutely. It's all about listening to your heart and not being distracted by like the needs or the opinions of other people, and balancing your emotions. Getting those emotion regulation skills in check is going to be a big part of your evolution in this life. Many of you have grown a lot. So maybe in the past, if someone insulted you, you would go toe to toe with them. And now you just sort of brush it off and you're like, it's not worth it. Like if I start an argument with this person or I try and defend myself, I'm not necessarily gonna get any kind of apology or resolution from this. They might just target me even more. So it's really not worth it. There's this sense of like, I'm going to choose my battles, which is an excellent approach for things. I also get this sense of like strong boundaries, like understanding that unconditional love doesn't mean unconditional access, that you can have pride in your own desires and your own expectations. You don't have to like lower your standards, and that's not like a selfish act, right? Like everyone is here to grow and learn. So if we give everyone a pass every time they're sort of stumbling, how are they ever going to like grow or evolve, right? They're just going to stay at the same level they're currently at. So let's get into the rest of these cards and see what comes forward. I'm going to do one card at a time. So first, you got hammock, taking a vacation physically or mentally. Your guides are complimenting you on your ability to relax and unwind. There's a sense that you really understand that your energy levels are important and that you have to like take care of yourself, that stressing about every little thing, and there's this sense of like not stressing so much about other people's challenges, not carrying their burdens for them, has been something that you've been working through. Some of you in the past might have been very anxious. You might have grown up in homes where there was a lot of sort of tension and anxiety, and you have really learned how to unwind. And I think that you've also realized that experiences that are like allow you to unwind and reduce stress are really important. So you pour some of your resources into that. Next, you got amusement. You have natural talents that you can share with the world. It's time to make money from them while enjoying the process of being yourself. That can't come through right from the beginning. You are definitely a person that's gonna try and make money from something that you love, and that might have taken you down unconventional pathways. There's this sense that you possibly are very inventive. You might have a lot of Aquarius in your chart as well. Like there's a sense of like utilizing modern technologies or utilizing like things that are maybe a little bit outside of the norm, but it's like the cutting edge. You're looking towards the future. You definitely are the life of the party. Like it doesn't mean that you are necessarily everyone's cup of tea when it comes to like where people find joy or their sense of humor, but like when you're around like-minded people, they feel so happy being with you. Like you're fun, you're funny, you just know how to like relax. You're not putting on airs. You're not trying to impress people. You might also have a really interesting talent of some kind. Like there's something that you do that's maybe a little bit different and unique, and that's really entertaining. So some of you might have a hobby that you thought was a little bit out there, and you started a TikTok channel, or you're on YouTube or Instagram sharing what your like passion is, and all of a sudden people started to flock towards you, or it helped you to generate a little bit of extra income as a result, and it was totally unexpected. Monk, none. The light attribute is selfless devotion and single-minded dedication to spirit. You definitely have a good relationship with your guides. Even if you don't know that you're communicating with them, they feel like you definitely listen to them. So you must listen to your gut. You have like a divine inspiration, and you don't second guess it. You take action on it. You might also have a rich spiritual life where you have rituals and routines that you go through. Maybe you meditate, maybe you pray, maybe you do different mindfulness exercises, or you're manifesting in some way. You might even be witchy in some way, and you're connecting with the earth. There's just this sense of like you being very dedicated to your spiritual life and understanding that there's more to life than meets the eye. Fire, you've got some passion. Fire is very creative energy. So you get inspired and you take action on those things. Some of you might get down on yourself because you start a project and then you get distracted and you move on to something else, and then you get distracted and you move on to something else. Don't sweat that. That is not something that you need to feel bad about. At some point, you'll swing back around and you'll complete that project, or maybe you'll meet up with someone else and you'll trade supplies, or they'll like inspire you to utilize that hobby or those materials in an unconventional, unique way. The sunflower is talking about always finding the light, looking towards the optimism. There's also an association with sunflowers and abundance, opportunities, being able to plant a lot of seeds. There's a sense of like really looking towards like your purpose. So there might be a lot of evolution that goes along with you coming into your own energy. With the snake here, there's like this transformative energy. And I was saying before that the swallow is connected to new beginnings. So this like reinvention, like blending, mixing things up is like part of why you're here. Like you have very strong creative energy. Womb time, this is also a very creative card. So you might be someone who's very connected to the cycles of nature as well. Going back to that energy, that witchy energy I was talking about, you might manifest by like connections with the moon cycles. You might be very connected to your own body. And if you have feminine menstrual cycles, you might also be really mindful of your energy levels. Going back to the hammock, when you feel like you have a lot of energy, you plan for that and you try and accomplish as much as you can, but you don't beat yourself up if you're at a low point and you feel like just withdrawing and being alone. There's this sense of knowing that things are also going to take time, that part of the beauty of what you're creating is that journey, and not necessarily feeling like you need to get immediate results. Like you might be a writer and you think about your character development and what the storyline is over a long period of time. It's not something that you're just writing over a summer. It's something that maybe you work on over years. You allow things to slowly germinate. Next, you got the storyteller. That is wild. I do not look at the cards as I put the piles together. I try and avoid looking at them as much as I can. Okay, so again, I was mentioning being a writer. There's a good chance that you are a storyteller in some way. Maybe your medium is literary, but maybe you're a movie maker. Maybe you do plays. Maybe you create stories through visual art. Maybe you are a dancer. There's just something about you sharing your point of view and you sort of utilizing the materials or the information around you and crafting it or distorting it in a way so people see it from a different perspective. There's a sense of like people having realizations around you that are totally unexpected. So even if you aren't sharing your art, there's something about your viewpoint that helps people to make sense of their own experiences. There's this sense of you also being very in control of your emotions. Again, there's that sense of control, emotions, the water symbol there. That might have been part of your journey. And so you might be a water sign. That would be Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio. And you might be, again, very intuitive. Those signs tend to be very psychic. A creative endeavor. Yeah, you're a very creative person. Oh my God, and all the water here behind all the materials on the beach. So you're a musician, a painter, a photographer, a writer, an actor, you're a content creator, you're a fashion designer, you are like a sculptor, you are a woodworker, you are a baker, you are a chef. Like there's something that you're doing creatively, even if you're not sharing that with other people. The sense that I get though is that you are definitely already aware that you might be pushed a little bit more to start sharing your creations with other people. It might be something that happens very unexpectedly for you. Manifesting, like what was I just saying? Okay, so yeah, because and the moon here coming forward, the moon is really important. So the moon is very closely associated with Cancer, so that water energy again. So you are willing to put in the work through your thoughts, words, and actions to create the outcomes that you want. Like manifesting could be you really want to have your own family and you're planning for that. You want to be an artist full time. You're planning for that. There's just this sense of like you are a creative force and you're bringing things into the physical world, and your guides are like just so impressed by that. Long distance. Love knows no distance. It transcends time and space. You have the ability to make sure that people know that you love them and you're thinking of them. You're good at relationships. You are someone who might have friends that you've had for a really long period of time, or maybe you don't talk to these people all the time, but when you do reconnect, they really know that you care about them still. Like maybe you're keeping up to date on what's going on in their life based on what they're posting. Like there is this sense of, even though they might not have seen you for a really long time, the minute they reconnect with you, it's like a day hasn't gone by. You're just so genuine. And you might be someone that people feel like they've known forever when they first meet you. They're just like, wow, this person is just really gets me and is just so like comfortable to be around. You become their soft place to land, or you make them really feel at home. Windfall. You're about to receive a financial windfall or pay raise. Your finances are currently in a positive cycle. Now is the perfect time to treat yourself or make that big purchase. You use money to your advantage. I don't think that you are strict with yourself when it comes to money. Like you know that this is the only chance you're going to have to be the person you are right now. And you want life to be a joyful experience. So I don't think you're necessarily reckless with money. It seems like you have enough, and you don't worry that all of a sudden everything is going to dry up and you have to like hoard all of your resources. So if you hear about a great restaurant, you're going to go. You know, like you're going to go and you're going to buy yourself nice things and you're going to go on vacations and have great experiences. And there is this sense that the more you lean into your own creative abilities, the more money will come towards you. You might have a very positive Jupiter placement in your chart. Unicorn, luminosity. You are someone who, like, the unicorn for me always connects back to the third eye because of the placement of their horn. There's a sense of like, all of the answers that I need are directly being downloaded into my brain. If I can just listen to this, there's the moon again, really strong creative energy, and really like dealing with emotions as well. So for some of you, you might be working in psychology, or there's something about emotional expression, again, that creative energy, where you're going to be able to like draw money towards you. You just know which direction to go. If you second guess that, it will make things harder for you. The more you follow your heart, the easier things get for you. And you have luminosity. Like people want to pay attention to you. You might have found that people are really drawn to you and pay attention to you even when you don't want them to, right? Like there's times when you maybe don't want to be perceived. You want to just go under the radar and you just can't help it. Like people are just watching you. I think that you're extremely attractive too. You might not always feel that way. You might be surprised at times when like you go out of the house and you feel like you're totally disheveled and people stop you and compliment you. And you're like, what is happening? Like, I've never felt more like out of my element. I've never, like, I feel like I just dragged myself out of the house today and people are saying like, I love your outfit and you look so great. There's this inner radiance, and capitalize on that. If some of you want to be in the public eye, you want to be famous or you want to be known, that's going to help you in your career in some way. Tap into that, right? Like it feels like you have your finger on the pulse of something really special, something for the future. So tap into that. Be totally raw and authentic online. Don't try and like be perfect, because that's definitely gonna work against you. Morning glory, darkness and light, affection. You're a very affectionate, loving person. And I think that there are people that really value like the joy and the like exuberance that you bring. You might have a traditional job and there's a sense that like people just, you start the day off right for people. Like you walk in and you're like, good morning, and you're just being yourself, but it's like that good morning and the energy and your positivity just like sets the day off right for a lot of people. And you might be someone who just knows how to give the right advice or the right compliments to someone exactly when they need it. Like for you, it might be something that's really fleeting, but it's something that really sticks with people. And I don't think that you know the kind of positive effect that you have on others. Align your life. What is not aligned or needs to change? You've definitely done work to like edit anything that doesn't align with your morals and values or what like makes you feel at home, or you're in a process of doing that. Even if you haven't fully done this, your guides are acknowledging that you're at least aware that this needs to happen, that you have to sort of get rid of the parts that don't fit anymore or the parts that distort the way you see the world. So if there are people in your life that put you down, they're passive aggressive, they try and like get you to do a lot of things for them, they take a lot of your resources or your energy, that isn't setting you up for success. There's this sense of, again, back to the emotions, that you are taking control of your emotions and you're not allowing other people to manipulate those to get what they want. Like fire, water, those are the big things for you. So fire signs are Leo, Aries, and Sag. And as I already mentioned, water are Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. So, you know, those two energies can sort of fight against each other at times. But I mean, when you apply fire to water, it becomes steam, right? So that's associated for me with ether or the spiritual realm. So there's a sense of controlling your emotions, redirecting and channeling that energy into your creations, allowing your heart to guide you forward. That's going to give you the very best outcome. And don't sweat the small stuff. If there are people in your life that you can't walk away from, that's okay. Just don't center them in your life. And if there are people or experiences that are draining you, it's better for you to just cut that off. Hecate, the in-between. Yeah, the goddess of the crossroads. She is connected to the birth of magic as well. The number 20 is on the card. So 0, those cycles, and there's a moon symbol. The moon is just, I'd be shocked if you don't have some sense of like a connection with the moon. Maybe you're a night owl and you do your best work at night. You like the quiet. But Hecate is associated, I'll tell you some of her symbols so you can see if any of this comes forward. So keys, crossroads. She has 2 dogs. Typically they're black dogs. She is a person, or I should say a goddess, who will help you to see the paths ahead of you and anything that's holding you back. So for those of you who are witchy, you might be working with Hecate. This might be a sign that it's time for you to work with her. There's this sense of road openers. So for all of my witchy folk out there, you're going to want to look into doing a road opening ritual or spell. The sense that I get is really making sure that you are in partnership with yourself and your spirit team. That too being a sense of partnership. Next, order. Card number 6, the moon. Again, moon, and then also Virgo. So Virgo has come out twice now because it was also on the Green Adventurine card. So some of you might be really pushed towards finding order or systems, ways that you can accomplish the things that you need to accomplish. Some of you might be neurodivergent, you might have ADHD, and you have lots of ideas and you are always excited about something and you're starting new tasks. You might find that you get distracted easily, and that energy was coming out before. Don't beat yourself up about that. The main thing is that if you can start to figure out like the highs and lows of your energy and figure out some way for you to sort of order the randomness, or partner with another person that maybe has complementary skills, maybe someone who is like more structured but isn't going to judge you for being less structured, could be really beneficial to you. So here's an example. If you're an artist, partnering with someone who could either mentor you or a business partner that can take care of all of the logistics, like, you know, really taking care of like connecting you with galleries or opportunities. Someone who's going to do the business aspect of things could be very beneficial. So then you can just do the creative stuff. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, that's never going to happen for me. Like, wow, that's a level of success I don't think I'll ever find. But I don't think that that's true at all. I think that there's a windfall waiting for you. It's all about you trusting in that process. Remember, one of your core skills is hope for the future, hope that things are going to work out in your favor. And then you received the King of Swords, and that's clarified by the 10 of Pentacles. So the King of Swords is logical thinking, being potentially very blunt and direct with your communication, really being able to cut through the BS and be very clear, precise, and direct. It can also be an energy that's very linked with aspects of life that are sort of logical. So it can be like science or business or like money, finances. The 10 of Pentacles is about creating a legacy. Lots of resources available. It can be talking about a vibrant community. The sense that I get here is that your guides are giving you advice, going back to what I was just mentioning, that partnering with people that help you to sort of stay on the path and help you to sort of cut through the red tape could be very beneficial. If you're not going to be partnering with a person that could help you on your journey, then it might be a matter of you cultivating some of those skills within yourself, right? Everything is a balancing act. So remember that even though there are things that you love about your work, there will ultimately always be certain things that you don't really want to do, and you have to find ways to do those tasks regardless. And if you can find that balance in your energy, the world is your oyster. I think also partnering or being around other like-minded people. Oh my God, I don't know if you're seeing this. There are 2 dogs here on this card, going back to Hecate. Wow, that just blew my mind. So the grapes on this card are also making me think of Dionysus or Bacchus, who is the god associated with wine and celebration, and very closely associated with creative energy as well. So again, you might want to look into Bacchus or Dionysus and see if there's any association there that sort of makes sense to you. And it's interesting because this is card 10. So we've got 1 and 0, you being on the path towards your enlightenment is what I want to say, but like your purpose, and then those cycles again. So partnership with others, a partnership with yourself. So if you're partnering with other like-minded people that are also maybe creative in a different way, you're going to feel very fulfilled because you're going to be around other people that keep those ideas flowing. And that can be its own sense of legacy or abundance. Sometimes the legacy and abundance comes in the form of like lots of money and resources for the future. Like you having like material goods that you can pass on to your children. But sometimes it's being part of a vibrant community that makes a mark on the world, and that people talk about you in the future, or you've influenced the like scene that you're part of in some really positive way. Like look at how much of an influence the Beatles had, right? They had material success as well, but that's just an example that's coming forward. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to pull one final card for you, which is that final compliment or possibly even advice that's going to come from your guides. Okay, one of the channeled messages that's coming forward, they're telling me more things about this 10 of Pentacles. Really allow yourself to indulge in the things that make you feel beautiful, even if you feel like you stand out. That's where your power comes from. So if you really like to express yourself through makeup or clothing, like go there, wear the things that you want to wear, even if it's very avant-garde or it's very like unique in some way. Do that. Pour more energy into that. Like get creative in every aspect of your life. The more you lean into the theater of life, the more you're going to be rewarded. Okay, so what is some final compliments or advice that you have for pile number 1? Oh, you got 2 cards. Nice. Okay, let's see. Oh, you got way more. Okay, you got 3 cards. So 555, change, encouragement, support, obstacle, battle, calling, restructuring, creative work. You're going to level up. It might not feel good initially, but it will prepare you to handle the greater things in life for your highest good. This is the why you've been looking for. Push through it. There's a reward waiting at the finish line. That's been coming throughout the entire reading. Your journey is to have highs and lows, periods of abundance, and periods where there is not enough from your perspective. And all of this is going to help you to really hone your creative energy so that you can start something new, draw the energy around you, the support system that you need, and really cultivate something that's going to, the overall sense that I get is going to like influence other people and their creative output. Next, starting fresh, 1313. Encouragement, goals, foundation, creative ventures. That's wild. Creative work and creative ventures. Step out of your comfort zone. You're about to create something meaningful. All your skills and talents will bring you auspicious profits. Build up your confidence and trust in your decisions. Something big is brewing for you. And I've been getting a channeled message for practically this entire year. It started last year, but we are at the precipice of a major change. I know that everyone is looking at AI, and there's a lot of conversation about the death of creative arts and that AI is going to be taking over all of these jobs. I am telling you that things are about to dramatically change. If there is some sort of old way of being creative, some tradition that you've been excited about or you've been honing for a long time, that is actually the direction that you need to go in. That technology can only take us so far. Technology in terms of like AI is not going to be able to go back to the techniques of the old masters and replicate that. Everything is about to be about craftsmanship. So keep that in mind. If you've been really excited about old photography techniques, using like old technology and like the ways that certain images were captured, dive into that. Learn as much as you can about the people that did it before you, because all of that is about to go through a major renaissance. If it has like literally anything, just go back to the beginning, look and find all of the old techniques, because that is where you're going to make your money. People don't want cheap crap anymore that is made out of plastic. They want something that has a story, that is made with care, that will have longevity, and that is where you're gonna be able to fulfill your creative pursuits, as well as make a legacy for yourself and a lot of money. Next, 0606, commitment, loyalty, responsibility, truth, love, light, spiritual realm, growth, solutions. Applying honesty and light daily is a fast track to creating a peaceful and meaningful life. It's how you find solutions and comfort. Release worries by speaking your truth and expressing emotions regularly. Open up, for the best is yet to come. Whatever your story is, that is the key to your abundance. You are a storyteller. Now figure out what that story is. And that might be evolving over a long period of time. You might be a little bit nervous about that. That's okay. You have time, right? The overall energy has been that this is going to be a process of growth where you're going to plant the seeds and slowly cultivate your garden until you can harvest your abundance. So don't feel pressure to push yourself out of your comfort zone before you feel ready, but also don't hold yourself back when you really feel that push from the universe and your guides to step ahead, because you're definitely an early adopter. You're definitely someone who's ahead of the trends. So take advantage of that. The earlier you get into a new space where there might be opportunity, the more opportunities will be yours. So that concludes your readings, my friend. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to know your thoughts. If you want to share your insights in the comments, if you haven't already joined the family, I would love it if you subscribe to the channel. Maybe you could give this video a like or share it with someone. If any of you are interested in having a personal one-on-one reading, please go to my website, odessamall.com. You can book a session with me there, and I look forward to seeing you in the next reading. Take care. Hi, pile number 2. Welcome to your reading. So in today's reading, I'm delivering compliments from your spirit guides. So this reading is designed to help you gain a perspective of yourself that you don't normally have access to. I imagine that there's going to be a wide range of different messages that come forward related to your physical appearance and your personal style, your spiritual and emotional development, your career and some of the accomplishments that you've had in this life, as well as your logic and intelligence and your ability to problem solve. All of the messages that come forward are meant for you. So even if it doesn't click for you right away, it doesn't mean that it isn't true. Now, of course, if you feel like the entire reading isn't resonating for you, you can always go back to the pick a pile section of the intro and select one of the other two piles. Or you could book a personal reading with me, and then you're assured to get messages that are 100% for you, and they will be messages that you feel are accurate to you. So let's get into your reading. You selected the howlite crystal chips and the pigeon feather. So pigeons are associated with love, peace, and fidelity. So your guides really feel like you embody love, unconditional love, that you really seek peace in your life, that you also are someone who is very loyal and you dedicate yourself to the things that you love the most. You might have been drawn to a particular career early on in life, and all of the decisions that you made in terms of your education were all in pursuit of that particular goal. There is this sense that you can be very singularly focused, which is of great benefit when it comes to like manifesting and really accomplishing things in this life. So let's just put these aside for a second, and I'm going to get into the howlite crystal. I pulled this card out of my crystal deck, and the keywords are creativity, calming, and awareness. So you have very calm energy. You also seem to be very aware of like other people's energy, their emotions. Maybe you read people really well. You have a creative energy as well. Let's see what the back of the card says. So howlite is connected to the crown chakra, so you might be a highly intuitive person, or you might find that you just get clarity out of nowhere. It's like a download. You might not have been able to make sense of a problem, and then all of a sudden, eureka, there's the answer. The astrological signs are Gemini and Virgo, so you might have strong Virgo and Gemini placements in your chart. The affirmation says, I am attuned to the infinite wisdom within and around me. So you know that there is all kinds of knowledge that is just waiting for you. You might be a lifelong learner. You might have wanted to go through school until you got a master's degree or a doctorate, or you're a person that just is perpetually seeking new information. You like to talk to people and hear about their lives and their experiences. You're an avid reader. Maybe you listen to podcasts all the time. There's just this sense of like constantly seeking out understanding. And the card says, howlite eases an overactive mind and strengthens memory and knowledge. It helps with patience while calming our heightened awareness in times of stress. It can encourage past life and incarnation work. And there is yarrow, is the plant listed on this card, and it says calming, healing, protection, and awareness. Yeah, there's something about you really being a calming force in people's lives. You might be a person who realizes that the more you know about the past, the more empowered you are for the future. That histories might not completely repeat, but it rhymes. So if I can look back at the past, I'm going to be able to gain some insight on how I can solve a problem for the future. Even if you're not looking at, say, like world history, you're at least looking back at the events that have transpired in your own life. You seem to be able to learn from other people's experiences, which is very rare. It is really hard to learn a lesson that you haven't faced yourself. Most people have to have experiential learning where they're going to have someone come into their life or some situation that's going to dysregulate things, and then you have to work your way through the problem, and then you look back and hindsight gives you the ability to see what other alternative paths you had available to you, and then armed with that knowledge you make different decisions in the future. You seem to be able to learn that from other people. You might be really interested in documentaries, or you just have a rich relationship with your friends and your family, and so when people in your life tell you about what they've gone through, you take that on and it informs how you move through your life in the future. Let's see what else is going to come forward. So the next card you got is Tortoise, slowly but surely getting ahead. Yeah, you're going to dedicate yourself. Even if it takes you 10 years to accomplish a goal, you're totally okay with that. It's about the journey. And there is this sense of wanting to have a quality experience, that you're not in a rush for the finish line because you like learning. Skills. Investing in your skills is a great way to build wealth. You can provide services using your expertise to build a stable income. You might be really excited about new inventions, new technology, new approaches to whatever your business or career is. Or maybe it's just a hobby and you're just constantly wanting to up your game. That's part, you like challenging yourself. And I think that you probably like when other people challenge you. Maybe this isn't true of all of you, but I get the sense that some of you maybe like mental games. You like to debate people. You don't mind being around people that have a difference of opinion. It keeps you on your toes. You like being challenged. Plus, you like being able to look at things from a totally new perspective that you might not have even considered a particular opportunity or a way of making sense of a certain situation until someone else told you about how they experienced the same event. It's very much Gemini energy that I'm picking up on, and it's working in your favor. So you might have found that because you're willing to put in the work, you're getting promoted, or you're put on interesting projects because you're willing to iron out all of the imperfections. If there is there's a sense of, there's a couple of examples that are coming forward, so I will share them. There's this sense of working on a new digital product, you're trying to program something and there's all kinds of hiccups and problems with the program, and you don't mind going through lines and lines and lines of code figuring out what the issues are. And there is no small task to you. It's all important. You would likely be an excellent leader. Eternal Child, the card says, determination to remain young in body, mind, and spirit, ability to see things with fresh eyes. Yeah, there's a sense of you might be very inspired by some of the people that are younger than you. You might be a parent and you are so excited about the perspectives that your children bring to you, or there's maybe you're a teacher, maybe you're a coach, and just the energy that kids bring to whatever the problem is, or just their perspectives on the events that are taking place just inspire you. But you might also be an excellent boss and you don't see yourself as above your team. You like it when they bring fresh ideas. You like their unique perspectives. It helps you to grow and transform. You don't like stagnancy. You don't mind slow change, but you do want things to perpetually be getting better. You're looking for those other opportunities. So you might be someone who really diversifies your income as well. You might have had a lot of career changes as well, or you've moved from city to city or country to country. There's this sense of like traveling long distances. So maybe you went away to school or you went on an exchange. There's this sense of like you wanting to be able to explore as much as you possibly could. There is this strong sense that it's about the knowledge. That's what you're really focused on, and having money and being successful in that way is great, but it's not your number one thing. If you had to choose between like being an expert in your field and knowing as much as you possibly could and traveling and having those one-on-one experiences and being at one job where everything is consistent, you know exactly what your role is, but you make 3 times as much money, you would choose the travel and the experience over the stability and just like a high income. But I do think that for many of you, you're going to go through huge periods of feasting, is the sense that I get. Like, unexpectedly, you find yourself at the right place at the right time where your expertise is really valued and you end up making money as a result of that. You got Awaken. Yeah. So and wow. Okay. So there's sunflowers here and sunflowers here. Sunflowers are often associated with like joy as well as a connection with the spiritual realm. They're also a flower that is associated with the sign of Leo. So you might have strong Leo placements in your chart. The moon can be associated with Cancer, but sunflowers follow the sun. So you're constantly looking towards the light. You're looking towards that inspiration, that enlightenment, what is going to awaken something in you, inspire you. If you worked in like there's this sense of like really perfecting your art. So you might be working in an academic arena where you're building on the experience of other people that came before you. It's like, you know that the problem isn't going to be solved in your lifetime. You're just doing your piece. But there's this sense of like really looking over a lot of data, looking over like the minutia of something. Maybe you are interested in history, or you're working in anthropology or sociology or psychology, and you're just like dissecting experiences. Or there's an image that I keep having of an archaeological site and someone looking at little tiny pieces of pottery, and that little piece of pottery telling them so much about the culture. That's your skill set. Even if that's not what you're doing, your skill set is being able to look at small pieces of information to give you a much larger storyline, and that you use that to slowly push the culture ahead. Whole. Yeah, you're looking at small pieces and applying that to a larger storyline. You're looking at it as a whole. And there is 2 suns here. I guess that might be the moon, but that is definitely the sun, which is also, again, associated with the sunflower. So it definitely feels like Leo energy to me, but it could be Aries or Sag energy as well. So you're going in the right direction. You are meant to be doing this, to be like working on a problem over many, many seasons, over decades of your life potentially. And you really need to make sure that you keep a little bit of your spirituality or what your intuition is telling you, because you're so connected to the crown chakra. There's a good chance that your own guides are sort of guiding you in a particular direction, and there might be solutions that come to you very unexpectedly. For some of you, you might be very creative, and this might be a situation where all of a sudden you just wake up with a song in your mind, or there's like a vision that you've had and you need to capture that in a painting, or like you're gonna make a movie, or it's inspiration that's gonna be applied to your fashion brand. There's a sense of like you get the whole picture, like it's brought to you all as a whole, all one vision. But then you're gonna still have to do the day-to-day, like step by step, to make it a reality. It just seems like it's so clear. Oh my God, you got the scholar. Investigation and research. That was the energy that was coming forward so clearly. That I wouldn't be surprised if you worked at a university, for a library, you were working possibly in law, you're working where you have had to do a lot of studying. Like you might have had to go to med school for years and years and years. But there's like this sense of like data research. Like I don't necessarily get this sense that this is like a customer facing role. The sense that I get is that you're able to really lock into your special interest and just like focus on that. And like you might be working within a team, but there's a lot of independence that comes forward so that you can investigate and research. Some of you might be working on cold cases. You're into true crime, even if that's a hobby. Like you like to work through problems. Transformation. So you are ready to like expand, transform, go in a new direction. You don't want to stay stagnant. Like I said before, you might have been brought into one particular area of your life. You're going to school, you're in one particular job, and then all of a sudden you are sort of redirected away from that career to explore something else that would be related. But for others, it might have, that similar situation might have caused them a lot of anxiety. And for you, you just feel like, okay, now it's a new opportunity to look at this problem from a different perspective. You like transformation. You like uncovering things. You like working with problems and reconfiguring things. Answers. You're seeking answers. I think you also have a lot of answers. So for some of you, this is really making me think of like legal gowns, like when people are in like a high court, or graduation gowns, like she's holding this scroll. Like maybe you've had to really transform yourself because you went through every possible level of education that you possibly could. You got a PhD and maybe you went back to school to get another master. You might be a professor yourself. Even if it's not under like in a university setting, there is this sense of you passing on knowledge. You're the teacher. You've had to make great sacrifices for this and you totally feel like it's worth it. I wouldn't be surprised at all if some of you are working on a book or you're working on some sort of program to help educate other people. You might be starting a nonprofit, or you might be working on putting together some sort of scholarship, like giving people access to what you were gifted. There's a sense of you really knowing. For some of you, if you had opportunities, you never took that for granted, or at least you've gained insight into how lucky you were to be born into the family you were born into, or to have access to the resources you did. Maybe it's a matter of timing, like you're just at a certain age where there were still certain scholarships and programs available that have now been canceled. You are aware of that, and it feels like you're wanting to pay it forward. You want to be able to give back. Imperfections. Love is a beautiful mess. Embrace its imperfections. So you, like, the sense that I get is that, especially with this Virgo energy, that you might have been a perfectionist in the past and you're learning to let go a little bit. That sometimes the solutions are in the mistakes. Sometimes we have to fail at something and it not go right for us to allow things to sort of like reveal themselves to us. If we try and hang on to control, or we have a certain outcome that we want, it will distort the results that we get. So you can't go into a situation where you're trying to do a study and you have a certain outcome that you want to like reach. You have to be very open-minded and allow the data to reveal the truth to you. And again, with law, it's the same thing. You couldn't go in and just like be like focused on only one person being responsible for the crime. You have to let the evidence speak for itself. So that's wonderful. You've really worked on that, and you're allowing your own imperfections to come through. So you likely are learning to not be as hard on yourself. And, you know, the sense that I get is for some of you, you're finding that you're having better relationships with people as a result. Because if you hold yourself to a really, really high standard, that can play out a couple of different ways. One, you could be holding yourself to a standard that you'll never be able to reach, which means that you're constantly striving, and people that, you know, really want to gain from other people could be taking advantage of that energy. But the other way it could come forward is you could have been really critical of others, and that could have distorted the way they saw you. Even though you meant well, they might have felt like they were failing or they weren't meeting your expectations, and that could have destroyed or harmed relationships that could have been a real joy to you. And there's a sense of, and this isn't for all of you, right? I just share every message that comes forward. So there's this sense of you finding an escape, you allowing the messiness to just happen. There's a sense of like, so maybe the epiphany came to you when you observed nature and how it's not all ordered. There isn't necessarily like a set system. There's a wildness to it, and that can be its own system or its own solution or its own perfection. For those of you who this relates to, you'll understand exactly what I'm saying. Offering. The card says all your needs will be met by the universe. Think about setting up a money altar to enhance your financial flow. Call on your spirit guides and angels for assistance during this time. So you're definitely giving back. Like I was saying before, you are focused on the fact that there has to be some sort of exchange. So if you are hoping to gain something from a particular experience, you're gonna be willing to like offer back some sort of payment. So maybe if someone is helping you, you're volunteering with them, or they're helping you to edit a book and you're helping them to get a job. There's a sense of like, there's reciprocity, and you're definitely working with your guides. There's a sense of like the help, the expertise, and the guidance that they have provided you has been like received well. You're grateful for that. So some of you might be witchy. You might actually have a money altar, and you do have an altar and you give offerings. That might not resonate for all of you. Some of you might be giving, like paying back your parents, right? They paid for your education, and now you're making sure that they have a beautiful retirement. You're making sure that they're safe. There's a sense of like you really understanding the value of other people's assistance. Reptilian integration. So we all have ego. We all have that part of ourselves that can be sort of selfish. And you have worked on that. You're aware that some of the circumstances that you've been privy to could put you in a privileged position, and you are going to integrate the part of you that feels like you deserve it, and because you're in a certain position, you are more worthy than somebody else, right? Like you understand that things are not necessarily fair and it's not black and white. And you might also be helping like the collective. There might be some aspect of your job that also focuses on those imbalances and making things more equitable. There's a sense too of also like when I think of reptiles, I also think of snakes, and it's like this reinvention. Like you're expanding. As you grow your knowledge, you're willing to shed old ideas. So going back to the knowledge, like you are happy to have someone disagree with you and give you a good reason to look at things from a different perspective. You've come to a place where you appreciate being humbled. Ghost orchid, phantoms and memories, intangible things. Some of you might be mediums, or you have like a heritage that's strongly connected to ancestors, looking back at the past, learning from the people from the past. Like I was saying before, maybe you're working in a field where you're building on the research of people that have retired or they've already passed away. And it's not all the pieces of the puzzle aren't fully coming together. Going back to that anthropology example I gave, like you're looking through texts, you're looking maybe through things that aren't from your own background as well. Like you've had to like learn other languages, you've had to like look back at maybe people's own history. Like some of you might be writing books about other people. You're writing a biography and you're looking through someone else's diaries and their family history. Maybe you're a person that's also looking at your family heritage. You're trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together of how your family came to be where you are. And you're making sense of some of the things that possibly brought about some of the painful experiences that your ancestors had. Like maybe you're figuring out the migration history of your family. Maybe there were some tragedies that happened in your family that nobody wanted to talk about, and you're going there, and as a result, you're healing wounds. Maybe you're finding out that some of the history of your family isn't accurate, and you're seeing things in a more like accurate, clear way, and it's sort of healing things. There's a sense of like clearing away shame. Like this ghost orchid, it just makes me think that like there were some things that maybe people felt like they could never be spoken about, and they're things that we just want to like keep hidden. But there comes a lot of shame with that. And you are totally prepared to rip off the Band-Aid and look at what the facts are and then make sense of it. And if it's something that you need to like adjust, you need to change your perspective on things, you need to make restitution, you have to like make amends, you have to like apologize for something, you're willing to do that. Yeah, warrior woman, have you answered your deepest calling? I think that you fight for what you believe in, and I think that you're very honest and direct. And sometimes that kind of communication is not respected or appreciated. It really depends on what kind of background you come from, culturally, wherever you're located. There might be real differences in like the kind of communication style that is like accepted. Indirect communication can be very popular in the Western world, and especially if you're at an academic level or you're like white collar or you are in a position of real privilege. Especially if you are part of a community that's predominantly white, indirect communication is traditionally what is preferred, and that can cause a lot of stagnancy because you have to sort of skirt around the issues and you have to really spare people's feelings, and sometimes it just perpetuates the same problems. Whereas direct communication is preferred by neurodivergent people, and it can be preferred in certain cultures, and it definitely is more preferred in communities where people are like blue collar. Because like, think about it, if you are building a building, you have to directly tell someone if there is a problem with the electrical or the machinery. Like, you can't be skirting around the issue, sparing someone's feelings. It's integral that you are direct, because you have to work together. There's real community mindset. There's a sense that you bring that to possibly a new arena. There's a sense too that like you're mindful of people's feelings, like you're allowing your knowledge to help you deliver a truth that maybe might have been hard for some people to hear. In some cases, you know that it's worth making people feel uncomfortable. Like some of this reptilian energy, it can be related to people that maybe have too much, and they have too much privilege, and they don't want to be put in a position where they're uncomfortable, because that means that they have to change and they don't want to. And you're like, no, we need to tackle this problem head on. It just is what it is. And we have to look at the facts, and we can't just distort things because our feelings are hurt. There's this strong sense of justice that's coming forward, and your guides are so proud of you. There is this strong sense that you've really worked on your communication skills. Like this is something where you might have been very blunt earlier on in your life, and you have like really, really worked slowly on that skill. Carried wind, potential. You have worked on your own potential, mastering your craft. You're able to make magic. Caradwyn is a Celtic goddess, and she had this magic cauldron that she was able to manifest things from. You can create anything. You can create anything as long as you can visualize the potential there. You can visualize the outcome, and you're willing to put in the hard work. You can do it. And you see that in other people as well. Like the sense that I get is for most of you, your guides are so proud that you have let go of some of the, like I was saying before, the perfectionism or being the critical of other people. You're able to be softer with your justice, softer with your truth, see the potential in other people and work with them to make change. Negotiation, that is exactly the word I was looking for. You're able to negotiate with others. Here we go, the sun and the moon, sun and the moon. So you're able to work with two different types of people. Maybe you're working with neurotypical people, or that indirect communication style, and neurodivergent people with a more direct communication style. There's this sense of bringing order out of chaos, moving things forward, taking the time to make sure that everyone's perspective is seen. You're willing to be raw and vulnerable. You know that there's a lot of different energies that all need to sort of collaborate together. Got Uranus as well as Jupiter here, that we can all come together to expand. We can all come together if we are willing to sacrifice our egos so that we can solve the problems. Yes. Okay. 8 of Swords followed by the 3 of Swords. This has come through really hard work and situations that broke your heart. There's been times in your life where you were possibly blind to what was holding you back. You potentially didn't know what you didn't know, right? And when you realized what was going on, you were already in a state of loss. There's this sense of confusion as well, not knowing, because you weren't listening to your intuition. You weren't listening to your intuition. Maybe you weren't listening to the perspectives of other people or the emotions that were coming forward. Maybe you had shut off your own emotions and you were looking just at the logic, and you knew that something wasn't going right and you were heartbroken, but you didn't know how to get out of that energy. And now things are really changing. You might not feel like you have it all figured out yet. You might not even feel like you're completely healed from these wounds. Some of these wounds you might not feel like you'll ever be able to heal. But you will be able to make something powerful and beautiful out of these. There is some meaning behind this. You're going to be guided towards the epiphany, the awakening, where you start to see how you can like really make abundance out of the hardship and the pain. It will be worth it. So now I'm going to get some final cards for you. This is going to be either some final like compliments for you or some advice from your spirit guides. So let's see what comes out and get some final compliments or advice for pile number 2. Final advice or compliments for, okay. Some of you really underestimate how intelligent you are. I think that it would be interesting if you were able to observe yourself. So some of you might want to start having your own socials so that you can see yourself working through a problem, or you start working, like sharing some of the things that you've been doing in terms of your career or whatever this is that you've been working on, because you are a person that will deeply inspire people, and many of you are also doing something that no one like you has done before. So you're entering a space where people that look like you have never entered those halls before. And like, you've got to share, there's got to be visibility. You got to show the world, here I am, I'm doing this, or I have a different perspective, because it's going to inspire like people to follow after you. So 1331, good fortune, advice, comfort, major change, individuality, independence. Have faith in your skills and talents as they're a tool that can provide you with a bright future. A piece of good advice, a moment of enlightenment, or a comforting message is on its way. Everything will work out in your favor. I do think that like at times you lose sight of that, like that all of this is working out in your favor and new guidance will come to you. But the other thing that's coming forward is that you really do this for other people. You're like laying a foundation that other people will build on. Your advice, the expertise that you bring to the table is like creating the future. 0303, taking chances, success, knowledge, friendship, impatience, freedom, optimism. When chances present themselves, seize them and do something out of the ordinary. Whether in your professional or personal life, you will find success by welcoming creative impulses and having faith in your own abilities. Trust in chance and take risks on opportunities that could change your life for the better. Get messy. Allow the imperfections to come through. That's when the eureka moment is going to happen. Like many of our greatest technologies or medical breakthroughs happened completely by accident. They were looking for another solution and stumbled across something that completely changed the direction of their field. You are part of that. And there's momentum building is the sense that I get. Within the next 3 years, something major is about to happen for most of you that is related to whatever this problem is that you're working on. So keep that in mind. You've never been closer to reaching your goal, but then there will be another goal that happens after that, right? Like you're a perpetual learner, constantly looking for the next success. So yes, you'll reach your goal, allow yourself to celebrate that, and then it will morph to the next phase of that same problem. Okay, how can we push this even further? What's the next thing that we need to find a solution to? So that concludes your reading, pile number 2. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to know your thoughts if you want to share with me in the comments. And let me know if any of you have any other suggestions for readings you would like to hear in the future. And of course, if any of you would like to have a personal private reading with me, you can go to my website, odessamall.com, and you can book a session with me there. So I hope you have a wonderful day or night, and I look forward to seeing you in the next reading. Take care. Welcome, pile number 3. In today's reading, I'm delivering compliments from your spirit guides. So I'm expecting that a lot of different messages are going to come forward, potentially related to your physical appearance, your personal style, your emotional and spiritual growth, your professional accomplishments, your intellect or your ability to problem solve. Keep in mind that this reading is designed to help you see yourself from your guide's perspective. And we don't always see ourselves accurately. So if some of the messages that come forward don't resonate with you, it doesn't mean they're not meant for you. They might be things that you're just coming to realize about yourself, and it will make more sense in the future. Now, of course, if the entire reading feels like it's not really resonating with you, I suggest going back to the pick a pile section of the intro and selecting one of the other 2 piles, because you were drawn to this reading for a reason. So it just might be that you selected the wrong pile. But of course, you could also book a personal private reading with me where I focus solely on your energy, and all of the messages will be meant for you. And you can find out more information about my services and booking with me through my website, odessamall.com. So you selected the amethyst chips as well as the gold bell on the white and gold string. So bells are deeply spiritual. They're connected to awakening consciousness. They're also connected with spiritual protection. So they can be used to ward away lower vibrational energies, to clear a space. They can be a call to gather. They can also be used for other ceremonial purposes. And they're closely associated with divine communication. Oftentimes when people hear bells, there can be an association with angelic energy or our ancestors trying to communicate with us. And amethyst is also connected to the third eye. So it's deeply connected to psychic and spiritual energy. So let's just put these items off to the side. Now I've pulled out the amethyst card from my crystal deck so we could get a bit more information about this particular stone. And it says protection, purification, and spirituality. The back of the card talks about the third eye, and it also mentions Aquarius, Capricorn, Pisces, and Virgo. Okay, this is wild because Virgo was one of the signs that came out in every pile, and I'm recording this while we're in Virgo season. It's literally just begun. I'm recording this on the 24th, so that's wild. The affirmation says, my life has infinite possibilities. Amethyst is a powerful protection crystal and aids in developing intuition and psychic abilities. It transforms negative energy to a higher vibration. It assists in calming the mind and provides clarity through perception. So you are likely a very attuned person. You probably read people and their energy really well. Maybe you are able to anticipate their needs. You might also be a deeply spiritual and psychic person yourself. You might have certain practices where you connect with your ancestors or your spirit guides, or you've always felt like there was a presence supporting and guiding you forward. Possibly you use astrology or you use tarot to try and figure out the path forward and make decisions for yourself. Or you're just very aware that there is positive and negative energy around you, and it can have positive and negative effects on you, and you have to be mindful of that so you can avoid pitfalls. Let's get into the rest of the cards and see what else is coming forward. Arrow, you are on the right path regarding some aspect of your life. You definitely realize that there is a path set in front of you, that you have to sort of make decisions to push yourself forward, and you're listening to that inner calling, and your guides are so impressed. There's this sense of like you always knowing that there was a deeper meaning towards life. It wasn't just about what your parents or the culture was telling you, that you might have always felt like there was like a destiny for you. That you were meant to play a particular role. Even if you didn't know what that role was, you just had this deep sense that at some point I'm going to be asked to play a certain role or participate in a certain event. Some of you might have also felt very sure of what you wanted to do in the future. You really knew what career field you wanted to go in, but the sense that I get is that it was very unconventional. That you might have had to sort of go against the grain. Maybe you work in a spiritual field, or you're an artist, or you decided that you were gonna just sort of like experiment with different career paths, or your parents had always, like everyone in your family is a doctor, and you decided that you wanted to be an accountant. And even though that's a traditional job, it was not what everyone in your family did. Therefore, you're like the weird one. There's this sense of like, but I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I know I'm supposed to be working with numbers, or I know that I'm supposed to be traveling. There's just this sense of like constantly focusing on what your heart is telling you to do. But it's actually, I don't want to say heart, it's your third eye. It's direct knowing, which is referred to as claircognizance. Next, advancement. Career growth is on the horizon in your field of work. Opportunities are coming your way, so you don't waste time. Take action to improve your finances. This might have been a slog is the word that's coming forward. Like you've had to work hard. You constantly have to try and implement new skills and work at advancement. Trying to like climb the corporate ladder, trying to like move ahead towards your goals. There might have been many different levels to your achievement. So you're trying to work from an entry-level position up to CEO, or there's a lot of education that was involved. Like you've been willing to put in the work because you know that you're meant to be in that room, or you're meant to be playing that role and in that career. There's this sense that even though it might be very unconventional, you're applying a lot of logic and a lot of dedication to achieve it. Mother, nurturance, patience, unconditional love, joy in giving birth to life. So that might have been your purpose. You might have always felt like you were meant to be a parent, and you were going to do everything that you needed to do to make that a reality. You were always taking relationships seriously. You didn't want to just frivolously date someone who never wanted to have children if that's what you wanted for your life. Or you had fertility issues and you had to like find other ways to fulfill this goal. You might have also had a really strong relationship with your mother, good or bad, that really sort of was like part of your advancement. If it was a positive relationship, she nurtured and influenced you and supported what you wanted to do, even if maybe that was the only support. Maybe everyone else in the family was like, I don't get this, but your mom was like, no, I totally get it. There's this sense that for those of you who had a good relationship with your mom, you were sort of like doing something that she would have also loved to do. And that's not like that she's living through you. It was like, I'm accomplishing this for both of us. Some of you, your mom has already crossed over, and there are certain things that you are accomplishing. And even if you're not sharing this with other people, you are saying to yourself, like, we did it, Mom. We did it. Here we are. And I'm going to start crying. There's this sense that some of you might have traveled to certain places. Like your mother always wanted to be able to like go back home. Like if you had like emigrated to a new country, or you've moved cities, or there's some sort of like shift or change, she always wanted to go back with you, and you went even though she had crossed over, and like you could feel her there with you. Now others of you have had a bad relationship with your mom, and maybe she wasn't very supportive and she didn't show you unconditional love, and you had to heal that wound, and you really had to work towards seeing things accurately, that this was like a something that happened, but not because you weren't worthy, but because she didn't know how to meet your needs or give you love, likely because of some generational trauma. And you've had to work really hard at healing those wounds. And if you are a parent, you're likely the kind of parent that you wished that you had had. There's just this sense that like your mom or mothering energy has been very, very important in your life, and that you're just doing a really great job. You might also have guides that are related to maternal energy. So this is grandmothers, great aunts, could be your mother. It could be even mothering energy from like past lives. It might be something that like you can't necessarily put your finger on, but you just feel this strong connection with like this mothering, nurturing energy. For some of you, maybe it's connected to a feminine deity that's connected to mothering energy. So it can come forward in a lot of different ways. Earth. So again, Virgo energy coming forward, could also be Taurus or Capricorn. You're deeply grounded. I think that you are attuned to the energy of the earth too. So you might take like what you eat and like how you nurture your body really like seriously. You might be interested in gardening. You like to be out in nature. That's very nurturing and comforting and purifying for you. You might be more of a nature person, like you like to spend a lot of your time outside. You might want to sort of live in nature too. You don't want to live in a big city, or even if you might be splitting your time as well. Like when you go on a vacation, you just want to be out in nature, sort of like communing with nature. There's a sense of like, your idea of a wonderful vacation might be going and renting a cottage versus like going to New York City. It's just a very different, like there's a harmony that's coming through the cards. Just this real sense of like being happy and content without a lot of distractions. Next, foundation. You have worked on having a solid foundation for yourself. You also bring stability and a strong foundation to other people. Very magical energy coming forward with a lot of the mushroom imagery that's coming forward. And this woman has a jewel, a purple jewel on her third eye. You're able to manifest. There's this sense that it's probably very unconventional. Like out of the three piles, you feel like the most attuned with actual magical practices, doing ritual work, working with deities, maybe communing with nature spirits. You might be very interested in pagan practices and ancient religions. You might also have experimented with, you know, different mind expanding substances. You might have taken mushrooms at some point. Mushrooms are interesting because they can be a symbol of opportunities and miracles sort of manifesting or coming out of thin air. You don't see them, you don't expect it, and it's just like one thing after another after another. There is this real patience, even though you're constantly working towards your goals, there's this trust in the universe. Like, if I set my intention and I ask for something, at some point it's gonna be mine. You know, you might like have experiences where you like see a certain business in your neighborhood, or you something just is drawn, you're just drawn to this particular business. And it's while you're going through school and you're thinking, oh, I'd really love to work there. And then through some weird twist of events, 20 years later, you not only work there, but you're running a department. There's a sense of like things coming full circle. They come back into your life, maybe reconnecting with lost loves from when you were in high school. You know, you lost touch with your first love partner, and then all of a sudden they come back into your life and it's 30 years later and you get married. There's this, or like reconnecting with friends. It's just like big spans of time pass. And all of a sudden there they are. And you just have complete faith that this is going to happen. You're not trying to micromanage the universe. You're really trusting it. And your guys just really respect that. Like, you know that everything is happening for a reason, and you're not just, it's not just a cliche that you say, like you really believe that. In the darkest moments when things are really rough, you know, like, I just have to get through this moment, and I know that things will shift just like the seasons. And you might also work with nature elements to sort of process some of that grief. The brawler, lack of empathy, confrontation. So there's a sense that you'll fight for what you believe in. You might be very socially conscious. You want to work towards things getting better in this world. You might have certain passions or certain values that you grew up around that have really inspired your work. Like, you've seen people's struggles and then you want to do something about it to help that community. Or you might have totally different values than your family, and there's no rhyme or reason why you feel this way, but you were just willing to like fight for what you believed in because it was right. And there's a sense that you've gone through battles as a result of this. You might have been rejected by people, like you bear the scars, but you know, there's a certain amount of beauty that comes from that, like the growth. You've blossomed as a result of this, like the pain that you endured. You've blossomed and grown, and people recognize that. Happy success. So the sense that I get from this card is that you really are an inspiring person. And even when things aren't going well for you, you just bring this optimism and joy, and people are inspired by that. They can't help but feel good around you. And you might be someone that you don't realize that people like would like to be closer with. They want to be close. They feel like they want to be your best friend, or they want to be family with you. Like, you just like are so joyful of everything that's going your way. You show them how to have true gratitude. You are an advanced soul. You are an old soul, without a doubt. This is very advanced spiritual growth that I'm seeing in the cards. Spirit guide. Okay. So you are a psychic person. You are very, very connected with your spirit guides, and you might not even talk about it that way. You might just have always felt like you could trust your intuition, that things have always worked out when you follow your gut. The other thing that's coming forward is that this card is also, again, acknowledging that you're a spiritually advanced person. Spirit guides are advanced spiritual energies that have already gone through the levels of ascension to reach enlightenment. So you are either well on your way, signifying that you're an old soul, or, I mean, there could be something else spiritually going on here, that some of you might be coming back, incarnating at this time, at this pivotal juncture point when things are really shifting and changing for us communally, like as the human species, to help. And, you know, if this is seemingly a little too spiritual for you, just, put it into perspective that somehow your knowledge and your perspective is helping to change people's opinions, and you're helping collectively for people to see things from a different perspective, and it's helping them to grow or to deal with pain. You might be a career coach. You might be working with people through rehab. There's just this sense of you help to open people's eyes. Charisma. Love flows to you. You radiate charisma and charm. You are very charismatic, but it feels so genuine. I think that you have the ability to manipulate and deceive people if you want, but your values system doesn't align with that. So you make sure that you use this for the greater good. You might be someone who's sort of helping others to see the red flags that inevitably come forward when someone doesn't have your best interest at heart. So you help people to understand narcissistic personalities or manipulation tactics. You help to free them, and you help them to feel empowered, that they can make a change in their life, that the power that they have within them is as powerful as anything outside of them. And there's a sense of like helping them to really like focus on what is important. Like, there's a lot of people that want to be famous and rich, and there's nothing wrong with those things, but it's not for everyone. It's not everyone's path, because everything that we experience in this life is supposed to help us evolve in some way. And there's a lot of setbacks that can come from that kind of energy. There's a lot of negative karma that can come from that, because ultimately having more than others can promote selfishness. And it also reinforces a belief around lack. If you want to have everything, you want to have more resources than anyone else, it means that at the core, you believe that there isn't enough for everyone. And you have come through that. You're understanding that there's more than enough for everyone. But if we keep like needing to have all of the resources around us to protect ourselves, then there's inevitably going to be a lot of suffering. So you're helping people to make sense of that. Perfection, perfectionism and wisdom. Give up your perfectionism. It's causing delays in your finances. You won't move forward if you don't conquer the fear of failure. You have what it takes to improve your finances. You are enough. You're helping people to understand that they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be polished. It's about the wisdom. And sometimes the wisdom comes through the mistakes and the imperfections and the messiness of life. And even if they've stumbled and they've made grave errors in their life, that is to their benefit. How can you take that and twist that to a positive for you? Like I was saying before, somebody who has had substance abuse problems and then they become a drug and alcohol advocate, coach, they like are part of a program, being a sponsor, that kind of thing. But it can come forward in so many different ways. Like it can be like, I'm not perfect, I don't feel beautiful because I'm not like the ideal beauty, or I'm not the ideal size. Well, then you turn that around and you're like, okay, well, fashion isn't size inclusive, or it's not, there isn't enough fashion or products for people that have accessibility issues. I'm going to create that. Maybe I don't know anything about fashion or garment design. I'm going to partner with the right people and I'm going to make this a reality. There's like this sense that some of you are doing this and you've realized like, yeah, it's going to be a messy process. I'm going to like stumble and there's going to be failures, and that's okay. That's all beautiful. You know, we live in a universe of duality, good and bad. It's all has meaning. But some of you are inspiring other people, and it's like this domino effect, and you don't realize it. Like I've said this in previous readings, but it's coming forward again. So maybe this is the second time I'm saying this to you, that you don't realize what kind of effect you're having on people, that they truly love you. You might be feeling isolated to a certain degree, but you are going to be remembered so fondly. Like, people will come out of the woodwork after you've gone and tell your family how incredible you were. But you're also, many of you need to seek out the strange, unusual, the spiritually minded people to create a community. And many of you really need to try and connect with more feminine energy, regardless of how you identify. That, like, people who are rooted in their feminine energy are going to be your allies. Fate. Yeah. You understand that certain things are out of your control. There is fate and destiny. Destiny are the things that you get to choose. There's more than one path. Each of them are going to lead you on a different adventure. You have opportunities that will benefit you on each path. You get to choose where you're going to go. And ultimately, through your actions, you're going to get the rewards. Fate are events that no matter what, you're going to participate in them because you have to. And like an example of that would be COVID. None of us could have avoided this happening because it was something that had to happen for us as a collective, and also like for us in terms of our economy. Like, this had to happen. But there's lots of different things that happen over the course of human history that fall under fate. You accept it. There's a sense of like, you're checking your own ego, that you're not going to fall for the trap of like, I'm a perpetual victim, that nothing ever works out for me. You might have had moments like that. We all do. I have moments like that. Like, why is this always happening to me? Why can't I just move past this lesson? You might not know why. You're still stuck in a certain cycle. Hopefully over the coming months, I'll be able to give you some insight into that if that's your experience in other readings. But you accept that that is what it is. And that it's all coming together for a particular reason. You, like I said before, out of all three piles, seem to be the oldest soul and the one that has a direct mission. Like, you are meant to do a certain thing, and it's a collective. It's a collective energy. Even if you're not creating something where you're like directly influencing other people, it might just be you bringing a certain level of optimism, a certain, like, the ability to laugh at yourself, the ability to overcome and grow. Like, you're inspiring people, you're giving nurturing in some way. Daffodil, beginnings and rebirth. Yeah, you're showing them how to transform. How do you overcome something that you feel like shatters your illusions of life? People that have gone through divorces, people that have lost family members, maybe they've lost children, maybe there's cancer, you're a cancer survivor, and now you talk about your journey and how you detecting cancer early, like you're an advocate in some way. And some of you have gone through things that other people would feel was like the end of their life. You've had a car accident or you've had a stroke, and like there are physical things that are still with you. Like, maybe you still don't have all of the mobility that you had before, but there's something that you've gained from this, a deeper understanding of self or meaning outside of other people's perceptions of you or achievements that you were working towards. And that is more meaningful to you. That's more important. And your guides are just so like proud of you. Like, the sense that I get is that like it was so beautiful to watch you evolve. And it was a real struggle. Like, the butterfly always is a symbol of hope and transformation for me, but I've watched footage of butterflies trying to escape the chrysalis, and it is a hard process for them, and one that requires a lot of vulnerability. You've also gone through that really like raw transformation. Priestess, how are you being called to step up and lead? For many of you, okay, some of you might have strong Leo placements. Many of you might feel like, I'm meant to be in a leadership position. I'm meant to be in the spotlight. You are. The time will come. You're being called. So continue to take steps on a daily basis, working towards your goals. The sooner you start, the faster you're going to get to that position where you can step up and lead. But of course, in a situation like this, where you're an old soul, where you've had certain hardships, you have to finish all of the karmic lessons so that you are spiritually at a place of balance, so that you're not vulnerable to any of the fluctuations in energy. Ultimately, if you ended up like making it and you were famous, if you were vulnerable at your core to other people's opinions of you, you would lose sight of what the mission is or what your purpose is. You know, like, okay, think about Pamela Anderson. She's this big star. She was on Baywatch. She's this sex symbol. Everybody wants her. Failed relationship after failed relationship. All of a sudden, she makes this big change. She's going to come out. She's going to try and take roles that she feels are truthful to her. She's no longer going to hide the fact that she's aging. She's going on the red carpet without makeup. All of a sudden, everything is changing. New roles are coming towards her. She's in this new relationship. There's this sense that she had to finally figure out her own value and her own worth and confront her opinions of her value based on what society thought of her. There are still people that are on every post saying, oh my God, she looks so old. Look at her. How could she even come out without any makeup? Like, this isn't the Pam I know. And she's able to stand tall and continue to move forward with grace and a smile on her face. I've never seen her more radiant. That is some of your energy. That might not be your story, but that's your energy. You have to be like that. You have to be able to stand strong and know who you are, even when people are being cruel, even when people are trying to make you feel insecure, because that's truly that state of enlightenment that you're meant to get to in this life. And that will be an inspiration to other people. Sophia, divine wisdom, card number 48. Okay, that is wild. So Sophia is from the Gnostic tradition. She is the goddess who birthed the physical world. There's like a whole bunch of mythology around it if you wanted to look into that. But basically, she is an aspect of the divine, the one energy, and she is connected to the energy of wisdom and knowledge. So there's this sense that, again, old soul, you've been there, done that. Like, Sophia predates all other gods and goddesses, older than all of them. So there's this sense also with the 48. So that's coming to the number 12, which would reduce down to the number 3. So partnerships and unions. 1 is connected to being on your divine path, going in the direction you're meant to, having a strong partnership with self. 2 is, it can be making sense of duality, having a strong partnership with your guides. And then 3, collaboration with a larger group. So all of the struggles, giving you the wisdom, and you're going to be leading in some way. You might, like I was picking up on that witchy energy, you might be part of a spiritual community that's connected to religious practices, even if that's like traditional church. You're like coaching and guiding people, or you're working with these sort of divine wisdoms. Again, it feels feminine energy. Like, what were the brightest most successful feminine minds sharing with us. A lot of that information is starting to come forward, and it's been sort of hidden for a long time. Women's stories weren't shared. You're bringing that forward. So, maybe your path really isn't as spiritual as I've been making it seem. You might be, instead of it being a story that's connected to what we associate with spirituality, it's you bringing forward the wisdom and the stories of women, and you're sharing their voice long after they're gone, and others will do the same for you in the future. Harmony, the Sun and Uranus, card number 7. Divine messengers come forward for you. You might see a lot of synchronicities. Again, this Leo energy coming forward with the Sun. I think that you're willing to be raw and vulnerable. And I think that your guides are impressed that no amount of like wealth or status or the right clothing or anything ever corrupts you. At this point, at least, there's this sense of like you knowing that you're worth more than like the clothes on your back or the money in your bank account. Of course, those things are wonderful, but you know that life is more meaningful than that. And some disharmony or even chaos, you might even really relish that. There's this sense of like, let's just get rid of all of the old systems that don't work anymore. Like real cataclysmic change doesn't frighten you because you know it's a perpetual cycle. Like if we get rid of what isn't working, something new will be born. You're not afraid of the future. And synchronicities and insights might come through angel numbers that come forward or different strange synchronicities that happen for you on a day-to-day basis. The 7 of Pentacles, as well as the Knight of Cups in reverse. So you are someone who works very hard, like I've said before, and you have also learned that it's more important to put in real work and partner with people where there's authenticity instead of fakery or this kind of like, this sort of love bombing energy that's coming forward. Like you are not flattered by people just telling you, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so intelligent. You want substance. You can read between the lines. You can read their energy. You know when someone is disingenuous, and you really pride yourself on being as authentic and being as truthful as possible while also being mindful of other people's feelings. If you say that you love someone, you really do love them. You're not just blowing smoke. And that is such a beautiful energy. This definitely feels like it's been a challenge though. I can understand if you felt like just tired, like I'm just tired. I just want to be able to take a break. The break will come. There's still more work that needs to be done, but I promise you that you're going to be rewarded. Just try and continue to be mindful of all of the little miracles, right? Continue to do what you've already been doing. Having gratitude for the little things that are going right in your life, when you like have a great meal that you share with friends and there's lots of laughs, or you hear from a friend that you haven't heard from in a long time, or all of a sudden someone just gives you a small little gift. Like all of those little things, they all add up, and that's what makes life worth living. It's not just like the huge accomplishments, it's the little things. So let me get some final either guidance, or this might be some final pieces of like, well, advice or compliments from your guides. What other advice, compliments, or guidance do you have for pile number 3? Okay. First card that came out, 888. 8 is very much connected to Sophia. And now that I look at this, the spirit guide card with this, the double halo. It looks like a figure 8. Infinity, like as above, so below. So the card says karma, balance, finances, success, wealth, cycles. What goes around comes around. A lot of money is coming your way. Fortune refers to more than just monetary and material success. If you don't appreciate the people in your life now, you won't have them tomorrow. This message encourages you to take personal responsibility and utilize it to realize your greatest potential. Yeah, like there's a lot of karma that you're dealing with in this life. I absolutely can understand why you would want to avoid some of these things. But if you can continue to be brave and push through, the reward is going to be yours. And just continue to remind yourself that you have to lead with love. It doesn't mean that you have to like give a pass to everyone that's going to hurt you or take advantage of you. Absolutely not. Loving yourself and protecting yourself is integral. But not sweating the small stuff. If someone is not spiritually aware, they don't know what they're doing, all they're doing is adding more chaos to your life, understand that the lesson of that is to choose to not invite that energy into your life, have it at a safe distance from yourself, and move on to something that is more joyful for you. 5555. Now, 5 is the card of conflict or the number of conflict. It's also connected to humanity. Clarity, great transformation, major changes, opportunity, fast-paced forward process. You aren't a victim of circumstances, rather you are the beneficiary of it. If that weren't the case, life would be pretty dull. You will set yourself up for success in the long run if you're willing to adapt to this shift. Everything is working out for the best. At long last, you're accomplishing what you set out to do. Everything will work out perfectly in the end. Yes, this whole change of Uranus moving into Gemini, Pluto moving into Aquarius, all of this crazy energy that's going on with the planets and everything that's going to be happening over the next 3 years is going to test all of us. It's going to be difficult. You are going to rise up as a leader in some way. Maybe that's just in your family. Maybe that's in your career. Maybe that's in the larger community. Maybe that's on a public stage. But the transformation, don't be afraid. All of this has been part of your fate since you incarnated. So I think many of you already know this. You're looking at the signs, you're seeing what's happening on the global stage. Is global scale, interesting. What I wanted to say was global stage, and I wanted to say that politically there are some really crazy and shady things going on. But scales makes me think of scales of justice, going back to karma. There's a lot of karma that's being handed out right now. Don't be afraid. You were born to do this. You might feel strongly connected to the energy of Joan of Arc or figureheads like that. Like, this is your time. You might also be neurodivergent and always felt like you never fit in and nobody got you. That's going to be shifting. You're going to find your people. You have the clarity. Just keep going. So that concludes your reading, pile number 3. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to know what you thought. If you wanted to share that in the comments. If you haven't already joined the little family that we're growing here, I would love it if you subscribe to the channel, or if you felt inclined to like or share this reading, that would be amazing. And if you have any suggestions on other readings you'd like to see, just add that to the comments. I love to hear all of your thoughts and ideas about different topics I can cover. And of course, if you would like to book a reading with me, just go to my website, odessamall.com, and you'll be able to book with me. I am sending you so much love, and I hope that I see you in the next reading. Take care.